Connecting to cloud servers.
Lovely. Dale, would you like to take the first reading tonight?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Vedic knowledge is not imparted by such defective living entities. It was imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma, in his turn, disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples as he originally received it from the Lord. The Lord is Purnam, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his becoming subjected to the laws of material nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is the only proprietor of everything in the universe, and that he is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter, the Lord is addressed as Prapitamaha, because Brahma is addressed as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and he is the creator of the grandfather. So no one should claim to be the proprietor of anything. One should accept only things which are set aside for him by the Lord as his quota for his maintenance. There are many examples given of how we are to utilize those things which are set aside for us by the Lord. This is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. In the beginning, Arjuna decided that he should not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. This was his own decision. Arjuna told the Lord that it was not possible for him to enjoy the kingdom after killing his own kinsman. This decision was based on the body because he was thinking that the body was himself and that his bodily relations or expansions were his brothers, nephews, brothers-in-law, grandfathers, and so on. He was thinking in this way to satisfy his bodily demands. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord just to change this view. And at the end, Arjuna decides to fight under the directions of the Lord when he says, Karishye vachanam tava, I shall act according to thy word. In this world, man is not meant to toil like hogs. He must be intelligent to realize the importance of human life and refuse to act like an ordinary animal. A human being should realize the aim of his life, and this direction is given in all Vedic literatures, and the essence is given in Bhagavad Gita. Vedic literature is meant for human beings, not for animals. Animals can kill other living animals, and there is no question of sin on their part. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste, he must be responsible for breaking the laws of nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly explained that there are three kinds of activities according to the different modes of nature. The activities of goodness, of passion, and of ignorance. Similarly, there are three kinds of edibles also. Edibles in goodness, passion, and ignorance. All of this is clearly described, and if we properly utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then our whole life will become purified, and ultimately we will be able to reach the destination which is beyond this material sky. That destination is called the Sanatana sky, the eternal spiritual sky. In this material world, we find that everything is temporary. It comes into being, stays for some time, produces some byproducts, dwindles, and then vanishes. That is the law of the material world, whether we use as an example this body or a piece of fruit or anything. But beyond this temporary world, there is another world of which we have information. This world consists of another nature, which is Sanatana, eternal. Jiva is also described as Sanatana, eternal, and the Lord is also described as Sanatana in the 11th chapter. We have an intimate relationship with the Lord, and because we are all qualitatively one, the Sanatana Dharma, or sky, the Sanatana Supreme Personality, and the Sanatana living entities, the whole purpose of the Bhagavad Gita is to revive our Sanatana occupation, or Sanatana Dharma, which is the eternal occupation of the living entity. We are temporarily engaged in different activities, But all of these activities can be purified when we give up all these temporary activities and take up the activities which are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. That is called our pure life.
So just a quick recap. So often people have this notion that spiritual life is the withdrawal to spiritual activities, which is confined in ashram or India or the cave for meditation. And so there's the prescribed or the worldly duties within the mundane system. So it's called artha dharma, karma. But then mukti or bhakti is the same activity, but then offered as a offering to Krishna. So idam naivadam amgurave namah. I'm offering everything. So the Veda, the Sanatana Dharma, gives wisdom by which the living entity is awakened to the understanding that the Daivihi Shuganamaya, the external energy, is the property of the higher, Krishna. So now with that consciousness, connect everything to the higher, connect everything to the center. And then, so you're eternal, God's eternal, and the service plane is eternal, and you can connect everything to that higher, to the service. So it's considered prapana jivanamrita, so positive progressive immortality. Positive progressive. So it's not negating. So often the impersonal schools, they negate. Whereas we add, we come into the conscious of adding the positivity that everything can be offered. Pretty much. I mean, some things can't, of course. So what can't be offered, that's revealed in the Veda. Francisco. Yes. So, yeah, because often that notion, spiritual life, so Prabhupada in the 70s, like you've got these big ashrams and like big cars, and they had 20 VW combis. And it's like, I thought you guys were spiritualists, but you're like looking like materialists. You've got money and buildings and ashram, but it's utilized for the seva. And especially for the distribution of the knowledge, because you need bands and ashrams to house and cook and hold festivals. So that it's called yukta vairagya, that utility.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, any comments or queries on that? No. Clear, hopefully.
Because I was just going to ask, like, it stirs up that like notion of how we all sort of yearning for immortality through every like means possible in the material world. But really what this is saying is that you need to like that's almost the biggest thing that you need to kind of discard, is like that need to sort of hold on to things to feel immortal, or to sort of have some kind of sense of immortality because we're afraid of death, or we feel that by accumulating things maybe it gives our life more purpose and thus some more sense of immortality. But really it's to gain that immortality you kind of have to go in the opposite direction. Is that sort of what it's saying?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's saying. Yeah, it's saying go within, find your security in the higher, in consciousness. And then find your security in the non-material and the spiritual and the everlasting. And so basically 2 waves in the universe, Srila Govinda Maharaj would describe. There's the saguna, which is the outgoing current, taking you away from immortality into the mortal frame of thinking. And then there's the immortal current, which is the nirguna. So chanting Mahamantra, hearing Bhagavad Gita, is placing our intelligence and our opportunity in the direction of the nirguna, which is the ingoing current of devotion to the higher. So it's considered a transcendental activity. This way, often the reference, any point in the field, will bring some sort of movement and transcendence, because it's the object of our meditation, the object of the next, sort of hour, or maybe hour and a bit, is that focus, reflection of the Supreme, the Vedic system, conception, wisdom. So God in sound form, God in book form, and then the discussion of the Supreme, it's all connected to the ingoing wave. So the ingoing wave is taking us into Sanatana Dhamma, the eternal awareness conception. Gradually, we're being adjusted to that inner, sort of sacred, deeper state, eternal state.
Awesome. Okay. The Supreme Lord and his transcendental abode are both Sanatana.
Just wait 1 sec. Does everyone have the page number, like Francesco?
And Chandrika Sundari.
Chandrika? Sorry.
Great point. We're
Sorry.
oh, you go ahead. That's okay. Dale, maybe you can just let us know exactly where we are on what page.
Oh, yeah, so it's page 45 of the PDF.
I'll resend the link for people that have just joined. Oopsie.
It's the beginning of the third paragraph on that page.
Thanks, sweetheart.
Awesome.
Also, am I pronouncing that right? Is it Sanatan or Sanatana?
Sanatana.
Sanatana, either?
You can say Sanatan Dhan.
Sanatan, okay, cool.
Just like Srida or Sridhara.
Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting, because this point, I just listened to a lecture just before I jumped on. One is Sanskrit, correct, and the other is Bengali. Sridhar, like Bhakti Rakak, Sridhar Maharaj, or Sridhara. The R is the correct Sanskrit diacritic, but ultimately it's the spirit of the sound. So Sanatan or Sanatana, but Sanatan's fine. Sanatan Dhamma. It's like the eternal Dharma. Yeah.
Cool. Is everyone feeling pretty solid with where we are on the page?
Yeah, just let us know if anybody needs some more direction. But I think you're good to go ahead, sweetheart. Thanks, Dale.
All right. Start from the top. The Supreme Lord and his transcendental abode are both Sanatan, as are the living entities, and the combined association of the Supreme Lord and the living entities in the Sanatan abode is the perfection of human life. The Lord is very kind to the living entities because they are his sons. Lord Krishna declares in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Yonishu Aham Bija Pradapita. I am the father of all. Of course, there are all types of living entities according to their various karmas, but here the Lord claims that he is the father of all of them. Therefore, the Lord descends to reclaim all of these fallen, conditioned souls to call them back to the Sanatan eternal sky, so that the Sanatan living entities may regain their eternal Sanatan positions in eternal association with the Lord. The Lord comes himself in different incarnations, or he sends his confidential servants as sons, or his associates, or acharyas to reclaim the conditioned souls. Therefore, Sanatan Dharma does not refer to any sectarian process of religion. It is the eternal function of the eternal living entities in relationship with the eternal Supreme Lord. Sanatan Dharma refers, as stated previously, to the eternal occupation of the living entity. Ramanujacharya has explained the word Sanatan as that which has neither beginning nor end. So when we speak of Sanatan Dharma, we must take it for granted on the authority of Sri Ramanujacharya that it has neither beginning nor end. Madhurita, would you like to continue?
Yes, sure.
Cool.
The English word religion is a little different from Sanatan Dharma. Religion conveys the idea of faith, and faith may change. One may have faith in a particular process, and he may change this faith and adopt another. But Sanatan Dharma refers to that activity which cannot be changed. For instance, liquidity cannot be taken from water, nor can heat be taken from fire. Similarly, the eternal function of the eternal living entity cannot be taken from the living entity. Sanatan Dharma is eternally integral with the living entity. When we speak of Sanatan Dharma, therefore, we must take it for granted on the authority of Sri Ramanuja Acharya that it has neither beginning nor end. That which has neither end nor beginning must not be sectarian, for it cannot be limited by any boundaries. Yet those belonging to some sectarian faith will wrongly consider that Sanatan Dharma is also sectarian. But if we go deeply into the matter and consider it in the light of modern science, it is possible for us to see that Sanatan Dharma is the business of all the people of the world, nay, of all the living entities of the universe. Non-Sanatan religious faith may have some beginning in the annals of human history, but there is no beginning to the history of Sanatan Dharma because it remains eternally with the living entities. Insofar as the living entities are concerned, the authoritative sastras state that the living entity has neither birth nor death. In the Gita, it is stated that the living entity is never born and he never dies. He is eternal and indestructible, and he continues to live after the destruction of his temporary material body. In reference to the concept of Sanatan Dharma, we must try to understand the concept of religion from the Sanskrit root meaning of the word. Dharma refers to that which is constantly existing with a particular object. We conclude that there is heat and light along with the fire. Without heat and light, there is no meaning to the word fire. Similarly, we must discover the essential part of the living being, that part which is his constant companion. That constant companion is his eternal quality, and that eternal quality is his eternal religion. When Sanatan Goswami asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the Sarup of every living being, the Lord replied that the Sarup, or constitutional position of the living being, is the rendering of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If we analyze this statement of Lord Chaitanya, we can easily see that every living being is constantly engaged in rendering service to another living being. A living being serves other living beings in two capacities. By doing so, the living entity enjoys life. The lower animals serve human beings as servants serve their master. A serves B, master, B serves C, master, and C serves D, master, and so on. Under these circumstances, we can see that one friend serves another friend. The mother serves the son, the wife serves the husband serves the wife, and so on. If we go on searching in this spirit, it will be seen that there is no exception in the society of living beings to the activity of service. The politician presents his manifesto for the public to convince them of his capacity for service. The voters, therefore, give the politician their valuable votes, thinking that he will render valuable service to society. The shopkeeper serves the customer, and the artisan serves the capitalist. The capitalist serves the family, and the family serves the state in the terms of the eternal capacity of the eternal living being. In this way, we can see that no living being is exempt from rendering service to other living beings, and therefore we can safely conclude that service is the constant companion of the living being, and that the rendering of service is the eternal religion of the living being. Yet, man professes to belong to a particular type of faith with reference to particular time and circumstance, and thus claims to be a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, or any other sect. Such designations are non-Sanatan Dharma. A Hindu may change his faith to become a Muslim, or a Muslim may change his faith to become a Hindu, or a Christian may change his faith, and so on. But in all circumstances, the change of religious faith does not affect the eternal occupation of rendering service to others. The Hindu, Muslim, or Christian in all circumstances is servant of someone. Thus, to profess a particular type of sect is not to profess one's Sanatana Dharma. The rendering of service is Sanatana Dharma. Factually, we are related to the Supreme Lord in service. The Supreme Lord is the supreme enjoyer, and we living entities are his servitors. We are created for his enjoyment, and if we participate in that eternal enjoyment with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we become happy. We cannot become happy otherwise. It is not possible to be happily independently, just as no one part of the body can be happy without cooperating with the stomach. It is not possible for the living entity to be happy without rendering transcendental loving service unto the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, worship of different demigods or rendering service to them is not approved. It is stated in the 7th chapter, 20th verse, Kaimais tais tired hir agyanaha prapadyante niya devataha tam niyamam astaya prakritya niyataha svaya. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Bhagavad Gita 7:20. Here it is plainly said that those who are directed by lust worship the demigods and not the Supreme Lord Krishna. When we mention the name Krishna, we do not refer to any sectarian name. Krishna means the highest pleasure, and it is confirmed that the Supreme Lord is the reservoir or storehouse of all pleasure. We are all hankering after pleasure. Anandamayo Bayasat, VS 1:12. The living entities like the Lord are full of consciousness, and they are after happiness. The Lord is perpetually happy, and if the living entities associate with the Lord, cooperate with him, and take part in his association, then they also become happy. Does anyone else want to take over the reading?
It's a joy to listen to you. Were there any time? Doing great.
Okay. So
Could I actually just quickly mention something? It seems like a lot of what we're reading at the moment is like super fundamental Krishna consciousness. Like it's pretty epic. It is not possible for the living entity to be happy without rendering transcendental loving service unto the Supreme Lord. Like there's some really, really epic statements in these last few passages. I just wanted to make a note of that. It's, yeah, really enjoyable to hear.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for backing me up.
I agree. So the Lord descends to this mortal world to show his pastimes in Vrindavan, which are full of happiness. When Lord Sri Krishna was in Vrindavan, his activities with his cowherd boyfriends, with his damsel friends, with the inhabitants of Vrindavan, and with the cows were all full of happiness. The total population of Vrindavan knew nothing but Krishna. But Lord Krishna even discouraged his father Nanda Maharaj from worshipping the demigod Indra because he wanted to establish the fact that people need not worship any demigod. They need only worship the Supreme Lord because their ultimate goal is to return to his abode. The abode of Lord Sri Krishna is described in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, 6th verse. Natad basayate suryo na shanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nirvantante tad dhamma paramam mama. That abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by electricity, and anyone who reaches it never comes back to this material world. Bhagavad Gita 15:6. This verse gives a description of that eternal sky. Of course, we have a material conception of the sky, and we think of it in relationship to the sun, moon, stars, and so on. But in this verse, the Lord states that in the eternal sky, There is no need for the sun, nor for the moon, nor fire of any kind, because the spiritual sky is already illuminated by the Brahma Jyoti, the rays emanating from the Supreme Lord. We are trying with difficulty to reach other planets, but it is not difficult to understand the abode of the Supreme Lord. This abode is referred to as Goloka. In the Brahma Samhita, it is beautifully described, Goloka eva nivasati iya kilatma bhutaha. The Lord resides eternally in his abode, Goloka, yet he can be approached from this world. And to this end, the Lord comes to manifest his real form, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. When he manifests this form, there is no need for our imagining what he looks like. To discourage such imaginative speculation, he descends and exhibits himself as he is, as Shama Sundar. Unfortunately, the less intelligent deride him because he comes as one of us and plays with us as a human being. But because of this, we should not consider that the Lord is one of us. It is by his potency that he presents himself in his real form before us and displays his pastimes, which are prototypes of those pastimes found in his abode. In the effulgent... Yes.
Sorry, Madhuranitai.
No.
Maharaj, I was wondering if you could explain what Satchit Ananda Vigraha means in comparison to Satchit Ananda, which we've gone over a few times. But
yeah, so what is it here? Galoka eva nivashati ayaki ilama kilatma bhutaha. The Lord resides eternally in his abode Galoka, yet he can be approached from this world, and to this end the Lord comes to manifest his real form, Satchidananda Vigraha. So the form, so Sat, or Chit and Ananda is eternal. Sat, Chit are all consciousness emanates from him, and he's everywhere across all levels of consciousness, but fully conscious in love and emanating love. Sat Chit, eternal, fully conscious, but conscious in his Leela and emanating and receiving love from all the perfected entities. And consciousness is also giving power to the material matrix, consciousness, Chit. And Anandam, the source of all pleasure, all ecstasy, all sweetness, all nurture, is found in his form, divine. So the Vigraha means the form. So the form of Sat, eternal, all fully eternal, all conscious of material and spiritual, but the source of all material and spiritual realms, and the source of all Ananda, pleasure. So interesting, if we are part and parcel of the Satchidananda, the Supreme Being, we also have that same intrinsic nature, Sat, Chit, Anandam. So we're eternal, but we're not, our consciousness isn't connected everywhere. Our consciousness is limited at this stage in matrix consciousness, in provincial consciousness. But our tendency, our nature is Anandam. So we're desiring to love and be loved like the Supreme. But inside the matrix, it's limited, it's shadow, Ananda. Therefore, that's why there's limited fulfillment here. And the system, the law is whatever you have as some type of Anandam, it's temporary, transitory, reactionary. So the material matrix is set up to draw you back to the original divine Satchidananda Vigraha, Shama Sundar, Krishna. So the nature of the Supreme is Satchidananda, but in full, and we are baby Satchidanandas. And so Krishna consciousness, if we're fortunate, if we can be guided properly, we'll be given that chance to awaken to our... So the potentialization of we as entity, especially in the human form, you have the chance to come into that full-blown revelation or download by Krishna, by the Bhagavad Gita, and through the great masters. So this is the position of Sat Chidananda Vigraha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for that. Would anybody like to relieve Madhura Nitai of his reading duties, unless you're happy to keep going, Madhura Nitai? Just unmute and jump right in, anybody, if you're feeling it. Otherwise, we'll continue.
I can go if no one. Del, do you want to go again? Or Jenna?
Yeah, why not? I'll take a line. I'll take a couple of pages. Would you mind letting me know exactly where we are? Because I've scrolled around, lost my spot.
In the effulgent rays of the spiritual sky.
Awesome. Thank you. And apologies in advance about my Sanskrit reading, guys. In the effulgent rays of the spiritual sky, there are innumerable planets floating. The Brahma Jyoti emanates from the supreme abode, Krishna Loka, and the Anandamaya Chinmaya planets, which are not material, float in those rays. The Lord says, Na tad basyate suryo na sasanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhamma paramama. One who can approach that spiritual sky is not required to descend again to the material sky. In the material sky, even if we approach the highest planet, Brahmaloka, what to speak of the moon? We will find the same conditions of life, namely birth, death, disease, and old age. No planet in the material universe is free from these four principles of material existence. Therefore, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma Bhuva. I'm so sorry. I would love for you to read this, Maharaj, if you could, so I don't butcher it as much.
Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Puna Abhutano Arjuna.
Thank you. The living entities are traveling from one planet to another, not by mechanical arrangement, but by a spiritual process. This is also mentioned. Yanti Deva Vrita Devan Pitran Yanti Pitra Vrataha. No mechanical arrangement is necessary if we want interplanetary travel. The Gita instructs, Yanti Deva Vrita Devan. The moon, the sun, and higher planets are called Svargaloka. There are three different statuses of planets, higher, middle, and lower planetary systems. The Earth belongs to the middle planetary system. Bhagavad Gita informs us how to travel to the higher planetary systems, Devaloka, with a very simple formula. Yanti Deva Vrita Devan. One need only worship the particular demigod of that particular planet, and in that way go to the moon, the sun, or any of the high planetary systems. This is reminiscent of Krishna Kirtan's introductory to Bhakti through Easy Journeys to Other Planets. Side note from our last group. Yet Bhagavad Gita does not advise us to go to any of the planets in this material world, because even if we go to Brahmaloka, the highest planet, through some sort of mechanical contrivance, by maybe traveling for 40,000 years, and who would live that long, we will still find the material inconveniences of birth, death, disease, and old age. But one who wants to approach the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, or any of the other planets within the spiritual sky, will not meet with these material inconveniences. Amongst all of the planets in the spiritual sky, there is one supreme planet called Goloka Vrindavan, which is the original planet in the abode of the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. All of this information is given in the Bhagavad Gita, and we are given through its instruction and information how to leave the material world and begin a truly blissful life in the spiritual sky. In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the real picture of the material world is given. It is said there, urdhva mulam adha shakam ashvatam prahur avyayam chandamshi yasya parnani yastam vedasa vedavit. The Supreme Lord said, there is a banyan tree which has its roots upward and its branches down. Has its roots upwards and its branches down, and the Vedic hymns are its leaves. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita 15:1. Here, the material world is described as a tree whose roots are upwards and branches are below. We have experience of a tree whose roots are upward. If one stands on the bank of a river or any reservoir of water, he can see that the trees reflected in the water are upside down. The branches go downward and the roots upward. Similarly, this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. The material world is but a shadow of reality. In the shadow, there is no reality or substantiality, but from the shadow, we can understand that there is substance and reality. In the desert, there is no water, but the mirage suggests that there is such a thing as water. In the material world, there is no water, there is no happiness, but the real water of actual happiness is there in the spiritual world. This is really cool. Just highlighting that. The Lord suggests that we attain the spiritual world in the following manner: nirmana moha jita sangha dosha, adhyatma nitya vinivarta kamaha, dvandvar vimuktaha sukha dukha samgyar Gyanai Gachanti Amudaha Padam Avyayam Tat. Thanks for your patience, everyone. That Padam Avyayam, or eternal kingdom, can be reached by one who is Nirmana Moha. What does this mean? We are after designations. Someone wants to become a son, someone wants to become Lord, someone wants to become the president or a rich man or a king or something else. As long as we are attached to these designations, we are attached to the body because designations belong to the body. But we are not these bodies, and realizing this is the first stage in spiritual realization. We are associated with the three modes of material nature, but we must become detached through devotional service to the Lord. If we are not attached to devotional service to the Lord, then we cannot become detached from the modes of material nature. Designations and attachments are due to our lust and desire, our wanting to lord it over the material nature. As long as we do not give up this propensity of lording it over material nature, there is no possibility of returning to the kingdom of the Supreme, the Sanatan Dharma. That eternal kingdom, which is never destroyed, can be approached by one who is not bewildered by the attractions of false material enjoyments, who is situated in the service of the Supreme Lord. One so situated can easily approach that supreme abode. Elsewhere in the Gita is stated. Maharaj, would you mind reading this sloka if possible, please?
Avyakto shara iti uktashtam paramam gitim yam prapyana divartante tad dharma paramam mama.
Awesome, thank you. Avyakta means unmanifested. Not even all of the material world is manifested before us. Our senses are so imperfect that we cannot even see all of the stars within this material universe. Wow. In Vedic literature, we can receive much information about all the planets, and we can believe it or not believe it. All of the important planets are described in the Vedic literatures, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, and the spiritual world, which is beyond this material sky, is described as avyakta, unmanifested. One should desire and hanker after that supreme kingdom, for when one attains that kingdom, he does not have to return to this material world. Should we have some reflections? Does anyone feel that? Or Maharaj, do you feel reflections being necessary? I mean, this is
I
all...
would be very surprised if there wasn't any reflection, because, I mean, that's sort of, you know, it's pretty hard hitting to the, it's sort of I can see Morpheus grabbing at the back of the hose on Neo's head. That's the type of, it's because it's an inherent this.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Guru Maharaj. I have a question. Can you explain what is Brahma Yoti?
So yeah, Brahma Jyoti is the all expanding effulgence. So when we talk about the outgoing, there's the ingoing and the outgoing. So one awakening in consciousness connects with the ingoing current, which is the Brahma Jyoti, but also further in the service, further in the Brahma Jyoti is that the soul realizes the source of that light is Bhagavan, Krishna. So the outgoing is the inability to be aware of that Brahma Jyoti. So it's everywhere. It's right here with us now. And some beings, of course, will be connecting with that, the liberated souls. But others will be in the shadow of the Brahma Jyoti, which is the Maya. So they're not connecting. Their radio is not connected to the 108 FM, to the eternal ingoing current. They've got scattered intelligence by which they view and see what is divine as mundane, provincial. So it's like you see the sun is shining, but you have glasses on that block out the sun, and you only see the streetlights, and you see that there is no higher, deeper, universal way. You view everything from the mundane, like they say in some of these books, the 3-dimensional plane, 4th-dimensional plane. So the Brahma Jyoti effulgence is everywhere. So as you awaken in consciousness, you'll come to tune into that and see that everywhere is the presence of the Supreme. And this verse is called Bahonam Jamanam Manti Gyanavam Prapajante Sarvam Iti Sarvatma Iti Samahatma Sudur. Those great, after many births and deaths, one who is in knowledge or gets the blessings of a great soul who can give such knowledge will come to understand that I, Vasudeva, am the source of everything. Such a soul is very rare. So you'll go, due to the mercy of the great masters, you'll go from the awareness of the divine, the Holy Spirit is everywhere, and also that it exists in your heart, and that it's emanating that light from the Supreme Entity. That's the Brahma Jyoti. Hare Krishna. So that's good.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, if any other comments or
Well, I was
I had. Jenna, you go. Jenna, go.
I've seen you unmute a couple of times, so why don't you jump in? And it looks like Narayani's gonna share as well.
Oh.
So you guys go ahead, please.
Oh, Narayani, you can go.
Well, I didn't know that we could see me doing that. I'm having technical difficulties. But I mean, one question would be like, where would Brahma Jyoti be emanating from, like originally? Where's the source of Brahma Jyoti coming from? That's my question.
So this is interesting because the Brahma Jyoti also has its own plane. So we're told that it's the effulgence, the source of Brahma Jyoti, of course, is Krishna. So how is it possible that it's emanating from him, but it simultaneously is a buffer zone between material and spiritual sky? So this is the phenomena. So it's sometimes expressed that the Brahma Jyoti is the plane of renunciation. So it's a one-dimensional plane that is eternal. Now this is, if you can just follow this, Srila Maharaj once expressed, the Brahma Jyoti is Sat, and half of Chit of the Supreme. So it's only half of consciousness, and the Ananda is not found in the Brahma-jyoti. So when Jenna asked about Satchidananda Vigraha, in the Brahma-jyoti, there is only Sat, the eternality aspect of the Supreme, and half of Chit, half of the Supreme's consciousness. The rest of the consciousness is in the spiritual sky, and bliss and Ananda, or Akila Rasamrita Murti, is found in the dynamic of relationship with Krishna. So these are very technical points, but the Acharyas, especially Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he gave much insight to these finer points. It is found there in Prabhupada's teachings, but it has been a little hazy, actually. Like there is some followers of Prabhupada that they think that the soul has come out from, has fallen from the Vaikuntha, or the spiritual world. But we're told that the souls exist eternally in the Brahma-jyoti. So the Brahma-jyoti is also the home of many, many souls. And their equilibrium is somehow or other disturbed, and they come out from the one-dimensional plane, and then they have two choices, the plane of dedication or the plane of exploitation. So Brahma-jyoti is also the effulgence, it's the buffer plane, and it's also the home of the living entities that are in the deep slumber, who are yet to take up the potential of their relationship with Krishna. So this is because, there is confusion over this point. The Krishna conception is a new prospect for us. We have not had a relationship with Krishna as yet. Now, of course, some scholars in the Vedic schools are confused about that point. We're not, because we're following the heavyweights in their conception. So the Brahma-jyoti, the origin of the soul is Brahma-jyoti. So some have declared, but that's like almost, is our birth impersonalism? Yes. That's why the Vaishnava comes to establish, the Siddha Mahapurush Vaishnavas come to establish the prospect of personalism. And this is why we know that the majority of theistic conception within the realm of human, they're mostly attracted initially to the impersonal conception, because it's interesting, it's in their DNA, it's home, but it's not original home. So Brahma-jyoti is so two things, its source is the supreme entity emanating from the body. So of course it's unlimited. And it is a plane between the spiritual and material worlds, the Brahma-jyoti. If you want to be even more technical, okay, so there's the watery aspect of liberation called the Viraj river, Prakriti, and then there's the light aspect. And then above that is Maheshtam, and then the spiritual planets. But the source of the souls is the Brahma-jyoti. And that Brahma-jyoti is also here. So inside everyone's space where they are, the Brahma-jyoti is present. But who's tuning to that 108 FM? Through Bhakti or through other transcendental systems, you may glimpse that state. The Brahma-jyoti state, if we could sort of go into a little sort of meditation, what does that feel like, the Brahma-jyoti? It feels a little bit like this. Be here now. If you're living in the now without reflection of the past or any impression of the future, and you're fully present in the now, that's something of the Muktan Jivan state. That's the state that those entities are experiencing. So through bhakti, that state will be attained, crossed. Gurudev once said, one morning, it's like, because sometimes he wouldn't sleep so well and he'd be up at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, I saw his light on. It was like 3:15. I came up and he was talking about this point, and he said, every day there are many devotees from this planet respiratory system that are crossing the Brahman to do their service in the upper system. And I was, so he was indicating, yeah, like whether from this universe or others, that there are enlightened, self-realized beings crossing, even though they're physically embodied, they're crossing the Brahma Jyoti and are engaged in the service in the upper system, the spiritual sky, while embodied. And I was like, huh? And then, of course, a whole series of discussions came that, because see, we also are told that you'll enter that relationship in your perfected state. So now we came into the awareness there are some that are embodied and in that state. So they're also fully tuned into Brahma Jyoti and beyond. So they're Muktan Jivan, liberated plus, which is Bhakti. Because above Mukti, Bhakti. Mm.
And is it more at the time of death? Is it, because you hear often people will say they had a near-death experience and, you know, came to the light or merged into some oneness state. Is that for all souls? That
So that very rare that a soul is, that's not the Brahma Jyoti, although it may be descriptive like that. Gurudev, one time he went into this whole explanation of where the souls, when they depart from the body, they depart via the 9 gates. If you look at your body or reflect your body, you have 9 gates to the body: eyes, ears, nostril, mouth, private part, anus. That's 9 gates out of the body. The soul, when departing, it enters into the what we call the mental sky, the subtle sky. Now, very interesting, when you go to sleep at night, you go to visit that place. Every night when you sleep, you go into the mental sky to various levels. So when the departed soul comes out, depending on their previous sanskars, they're taken to Yamaraj and given an overview of their action, reaction, or karma, desire and action, reaction within this system. And then they're placed within the mental sky. Sometimes they have to suffer. In the mental or astral planes, there are places where you can also burn off bad karma and you enjoy your good karma up to Svarga. And in that place, this is amazing. Like, I never ever saw this written in Prabhupada's books, but Gurudev, no doubt Srila Sridhar Maharaj revealed through the Puranas. In that place, there are governments and systems and societies like ours, but they're in the astral psychic state. And there are big waves that move in those realms, and they try to capture the souls in the subtle. And if one of those waves captures you, you get placed inside a body again, like human body or animal body, depending on your karmic play. So in answer to your question, when the departed soul, the light that they see is when they leave the gate, which can be the eye or ear or mouth, then they're coming into the effulgence of the mental sky, which is also here. So that this is another phenomena. The mental sky is also here with us. So the multi-dimensions are present everywhere. It depends where you're tuned to. So for instance, even now there are yogis, bhakti yogis, they're in and out of the mental sky all the time. So what happens at the time of death, they've already crossed into that state long time ago. They're in and out of those subtle states. So when death does come, they'll go, oh, I know this feeling because I've many times felt that subtle play. Yeah. But anyway, that's quite a big subject. It's a big subject. But so we are consciousness, we are multidimensional entities. And even though our consciousness appears to be locked within this realm, you'll see your consciousness moving all over the place, even as human. But bhakti will now, and transcendental meditation or the yoga systems will now open the portals to the other six other planetary systems above us, including the mental sky and Sparga. So it's also, this is another phenomena that many of these great masters, sometimes they would reveal that they would see demigod, see the beings in the higher planets. So many things, even on our journey, you'll become aware of. So this won't just be book knowledge, it will also be realization of the subtle. And of course, as there are beings in higher states, when those who are in higher states recognize all other states below, so you'll also be more conscious and aware of lower entity, lower, more contracted consciousness. You'll detect quickly. That's another point. But yeah, that's the lower, of course, and that's detectable quickly as well. And there are also subtle lower systems as well. But generally, the masters didn't go so much into the lower, because it's really for those in the discussion, everyone's heading that way, pretty much. The fact that we're even connecting with the Bhagavad Gita, the spiral to the lower systems, it's that those days are over. The dog days are over, for us at least. For others, that's another case. But any connection with the transcendence is now the movement upward. Yeah. So your dial on your consciousness is being gently, lovingly nudged to 108 FM. Yeah. And you might say, why? Because you called it in. You asked, what is the matrix? What is God? Who am I? Why am I suffering? Why this? Why that? And so Krishna, in your heart, answered the call. And here we are. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, so like in Bhagavad Gita, like Krishna recommend we don't need to worship demigods. We just need to worship Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But even though there are so many practitioners, yogis, they sometimes surrender on to demigods. So like, what's your point of view on it?
I don't know if anyone has seen this, but there is a series out. It was, my sister asked me to watch it maybe a year or so ago. It's called American Gods. And it's about the old gods and the new gods. So now in India, they worship the old gods, but in the West, we worship the new gods. Who are the new gods? Madonna, Justin Bieber. It's like we worship Hollywood, we worship artists. So anyway, this series is about the American gods, and we worship technology, we worship many things. So in your land, Bharata Barsh, it's true, there are many people connected with Veda, but they have materialistic motivation to worship the superintendents of the Supreme, the demigods, to get temporary boon and benediction. And it is true that demigods can give you benediction, but it's considered trading. It's not permanent happiness and security to get boon and temporary materialistic gain through these demigods. So Krishna says, worship me. What you are searching for as Satchidananda, you'll find in me, because I'm the source of Ananda. So whatever a demigod can give you, it's the shadow of Ananda, the shadow of bliss. It's a temporary gift. And there's a nice picture in the Bhagavad Gita about the demigods controlling the human and giving some benediction, but it's temporary. Whereas Krishna will give permanent Ananda and bliss and happiness. So in the same way, like you can live your life building an empire, but, the pomp, the boast, Gurudev said this to me, like quite strongly and personally to me, like as I was sitting on the floor and he was in the chair, and he went, The boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, all that beauty or wealth or gave, but an ends at the inevitable hour. The paths of glory lead back to the grave. This is coming from Poems in a Country Churchyard by, I think, Edison. Hold on. Thomas Edison. Can someone Google that? Boast of heraldry? I think it's Edison. Anyway, we can bring it up for later, but yeah, so in other words, everything will be washed in the sandcastle. By the tide of time will come and take everything away. So this is why the Vedas come to say, look, live your life here, but invest for your future spiritual benefit, and find true happiness, not just temporary. Find eternal happiness. That chance is there with the higher, with Krishna. So the soul is searching for this. So Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha, the soul is Satchidananda. So when the two meet, so the spiritual thing can satisfy the spiritual being. The material thing can't satisfy the spiritual thing. So Krishna consciousness is the spiritual path that will satisfy the spiritual being. No matter what your position, if you're in cat body, dog body, female, male, human, even alien, many aliens also get benefit by bhakti. They'll be liberated. Yeah. So demigod worship is considered extended materialism, but in the name of some type of religion. Thomas Gray. Yeah, it is Thomas Gray. Thomas Gray. Yeah. When Gurudev said that, he was sort of like, because my name back then was Ashraya Vigraha, means the servant of the form of Guru. Like, get this point. Do you get it? It's all going to fade away quickly. So be serious for your spiritual practice and make a good chance in your human form, because it will all pass, you'll see. I have these images of my ma, in the coffin, because we had an Irish wake. I sang that to someone the other day. She was a very beautiful woman, no doubt, but as she was laying there all broken and like the body, all older and like riddled with cancer, so many things, but, and I wouldn't go into the room because I wanted my memory to be of her as living and happy. But still, that's the tradition. They have a big drink up and a farewell. But you see that wasn't her. That was her vehicle. But did she really attain the happiness she was searching for in her life? No. So this is the case for all of us. So before that time, let's try to be our own friend and connect with the source of love, the source of knowledge, Satchidananda Vigraha. And we're here, we're trying. We're to be here means we're inquisitive. The chance is open. So now all we have to do is work upon and increase that to be happy, according to the Veda.
Wonderful. Beautiful share. Thanks, Maharaj.
Yeah.
We're coming up on 10 minutes to the end of class. Would you like to read a little bit further or just have a bit of an open discussion until we say goodnight? How do you feel? What's your preference? And what does anyone want to jump in with questions, comments, or?
Guru Maharaj, I have a question, but it's like kind of out of the context. So like, I really want to contact with you, but I don't know how to contact with you through WhatsApp or like email or Facebook.
Okay. So then you just I can give you my number through the WhatsApp and then you contact them. The Calendly, we have that set up, but it's sort of mixing up sometimes with the time zones and things. So, but do you have a pen there and paper now?
Or you can send it in your chat box, Raj.
Yeah, it's to everyone, but I'll send it. Okay, I'll send it to him. No problem. Hare Krishna. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, any comments or reflections? Please. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu is 27 plus years in practice. So don't, please help us, you know, share your experience, help us if you feel it's about these matters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I enjoy so much listening to others' realizations and experiences. But you know, just recently, I lost a good friend. Big boisterous man, you know, quite a presence, very loud and very knowledgeable in terms of the world. Yeah, but my realization from that is, yeah, like you were saying, Maharaj, was quite a big realization for me, this passing. It's the closest person's ever left me in that sense. And to see him lying there, and there's no more loud voice, no nothing, just us. You know, it's like, did I even know you? Did you even know me? Did we ever lay eyes on each other or what? You know, in all our exchanges and stuff. Yeah, that's a big thing for me. Just recently, we were biking, we were riding all weekend, and he took us to dinner Sunday. He was gone Monday morning.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
sorry to hear, you know.
Yeah, no. But yeah, he helped me. That's what I'm saying is we can learn from even the most painful situations or experiences that come our way in life. Big or small, even a small thing can bring huge realizations.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just on a recent experience. Yeah.
It's always very sobering, these birth, death, old age, disease. Like any day, any hour now, my nephew's partner, Marissa, who's from Canada, she's going to give birth to a new baby boy. And of course so birth is intense, death intense, disease intense, old age also. So, but these it's part of the phenomena. But beyond that, we are eternal, and we're being invited to go to a land where there is none of this pain and suffering. But still, it's beautiful. It's even when as we awaken in bhakti, we'll come to sort of see that it's a divine system also, and that it appears the brother or the mother, like my case, the mother has gone, but she's just moved on to another vehicle, you know. As the embodied soul passes in this life from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. And there's one picture, famous picture, where in the Bhagavad Gita, where you see the soul moves, you know, and then into death, and then goes to another body. So this is reincarnation, moving. So Veda is, very deep. It gives so much deep security and understanding and insight to the inner world, the real world, actually, reality. So we're living in the outer surface world, but it's created by the divine. So it's also amazing. This world, the mountain, the Everest, the sun, shine, sunrise, sunset, each other, we're also, it's amazing, many miracles. But the real miracle is waking up to God and the true self. Yeah, that's the real miracle. And God is, God is love.
My mom's aunt. We got Dom here. Do you want to meet Dom?
Good to see. I'm back. I can't stay away.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, and you. How's the book club going tonight? Have you still going, or have I cut in at this?
Yeah, no. It's, the cameras are still rolling. We haven't gone cut yet.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I caught a little bit of you, so good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm in for some Govinda's tucker.
Oh, beautiful.
See the Prashad, Maharaj, we got
Oh, nice. Is this
we got samosas and
Yeah.
curries, all sorts of stuff.
Brilliant.
awesome? Beautiful. Blessed. Blessed.
But we love you and ladies. Maharaj.
Have you got everybody up?
Yeah, everyone's here but in the background.
Okay. I mean, they're just sort of sitting in the background. You've got a lot of friends there.
We'll catch up again soon. And I haven't said hello to Anam. He's there also.
And we've had someone join Kirtan and Madhuri Leela. Who's joined you on the couch there, Krishna Kirtan?
Oh, Jamuna.
Yeah, Jamuna baby.
Nice to meet you. Dandavad.
Yeah.
Yay.
Mama. Mama.
Who's Mama?
Jamuna.
Krishna Kirtan's mum.
My mum, yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yay. Family vibes.
Mm.
Everyone, it's been a gorgeous night. How do we feel about leaving it there?
Separation for the next. Jenna, we're meeting again tomorrow at 10 o'clock Jenna's time and 12 o'clock my time for, is it Queen Kunti, isn't it? Yeah, Queen
That's
Kunti.
right. Teachings of Queen Kunti.
Yeah. So whoever's free, if you're around 10 o'clock Australia, that's AES, and that's 10 o'clock. So 9 o'clock Queensland time. Yeah, if anyone's around, it's always a blessing, you know, these connections to these great teachings. Like even way back in the day, I remember reading the Bhagavad Gita, and just the feeling every time I read, I'd feel something deeper, mystical, some inspiration toward the higher enlightenment, the path. Yeah, we're all very blessed, no doubt. This chance and this life. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
We certainly feel blessed in your presence and in your guidance, Maharaj. So thank you so much once again.
It's always Govinda Maharaj, Srila Maharaj. They, threw me off the deep end into trying to take up the role. Hare Krishna. All right, well, thank you all so much, and yeah, have a good evening, and yeah, if anyone's around tomorrow for midday, more than happy. Yeah, good to see you, Jamuna. You all like the prasadam? Madhura Leela cooked two sabjis, right? Yeah, awesome.
Lovely to see you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Dandavats. All right, we'll see you all again soon. And
Dandavats. Jai.
That's very beautiful. Thank you.
Jai. Anam.
Namaste.
Narayani. Dandavats. Jenna.
Dandavats.
Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
Hare Krishna. Bye, everybody.